how to even set up an Indomie joint for yourself becomes very difficult. Just last trimester, a parent followed up on the child's results, came to our faculty, and the child has trailed a number of courses. The dad just felt like the child should go and pack his things and then they will go home. Several instances where we have university students going as far as being in level 300 and dropping merely because they didn't have passion to study those courses. I recently encountered a young lady who says she wanted to study communication, but the dad wants her to study law and the mom wants her to go to nursing.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Student My Ghana. Today's episode is going to be hosted by myself, Abdul Hakim Abdullah. And today's discussion is as sensitive as it is relevant. Degrees, but no direction. Who failed us? Is it the system? Is it the parents? Or are students themselves to blame for this? Imagine attending school for 4, 5, at most 6 years. Then you come out and ask yourself, what's next? And that is what today's discussion is all about. And with me today is an individual whose journey and experiences would give us an in-depth knowledge into this particular conversation. And he's in the person of Mr. Abdul Razak Tahiru Chon. Welcome to the program, brother.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So, Mr. Abdul Razak,
Yes.
do you mind giving us a brief introduction about yourself, your background? Basically, that.
I respond to the name Abdurazak Tahiru Chuang. I am a level 400 Bachelor of Laws student of the University of Business and Integrated Development Studies. I happen to be the formal SRC Chief Justice for the 2024-2025 academic year. I am also a teacher by profession. I am also currently a member of the Constitutional Review Committee for the National Union of Ghana Students, NUCS for short.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect, Mr. Abdul Razak. So before we hit our topic, you said you were a professional teacher, right?
Yes.
Then you made that shift into law. So my first question to you is, what triggered that shift?
Okay. So I would say teaching is basically a calling. So I was called to teaching and then I responded. However, my passion and ambition lies with studying law. So growing up, we all can testify that if a teacher at the basic school enters the classroom and asks, or perhaps the SHS, what do you want to be in future? A good number of us will raise up our hands and say, I want to be a policeman or woman. I want to be a military man. I want to be that and that. So I had always wanted to be a lawyer by profession. And that is the reason why I am currently studying law, even though I am a teacher by profession.
Okay, Mr. Abdul Razak, that is beautiful and that's ambitious. I really admire that bold step you've taken from teaching to law. I think it's a very bold step. And just a few people would dare to step that far. And I want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
But a question I want to ask right now, and I want you to be very honest. You studied teaching, right? Then you are studying law. Do you feel the same security, job-wise and financially, when you're studying teaching as compared to you studying law right now?
Like I said earlier, teaching is a calling. The call came and then I responded. However, my passion lies with studying law or being a lawyer by profession. So I wouldn't say I feel or would feel more scared studying law or being a lawyer, but I would say that I am basically fulfilled because my passion has been fulfilled. I have always wanted to be a lawyer and then I am in the path. It's not because of the job security that made me to run to study law. Growing up, I would always sit and imagine we have a good number of people that find themselves in prison not because they actually committed the crimes, but because the lawyer to the citizen ratio in the country is very low. So I felt that what can I do to society? What impact can I make in society? One is to study law and actually be a representative to those who are undervalued in the society, who cannot even afford the fees of a lawyer, talk less of uh, who cannot even afford the consultation fees of a lawyer, talk less of the money they would have to pay for the entire case. So I believe I can stand in for the undervalued in the society to get them representation in the law courts.
Wow, 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 wow. So basically, what I understand from everything you said is passion. Is that passion that drove you?
Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So I think all our viewers will have an in-depth understanding into the person you are. And I love that submission you made. But let's talk about today's topic. We are saying that we have, let me just put it like this. We have current students, or should I say students right now, and even graduates who would be able to relate to this particular topic we are talking about. And we are saying degrees, but no direction. Who failed us? So what I want us to do today is I want us to break it into three segments. The first segment is going to be the system, followed by the parents or society, and our last segment is going to be the students themselves. So my first question to you is, growing up, um, when they take you to school, then you dodge. Let me just use that word. You dodge. They tell you that if you don't attend school, you would not be successful. And at this point, let me put it, a degree is more like the standard in this country. So my question to you is, with the way our country is structured today, do you think a degree alone can guide someone into the path of success?
So I am going to tackle this question from this perspective. Degree alone, as we say, cannot lead someone to their destination, the job destination. However, they both go hand in hand, connection as well as the degree. Some people are there with degrees, but once you don't have connection, in today's Ghana, it will be very difficult for you to get a place to fix yourself in the name of a job. However, if you also have the connection without a degree, you might get something to do, but probably not a befitting area. So both go hand in hand. You need the degree as well as the connection.
Okay, 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 okay. So with that word connection, connection, I think we have to touch a bit on it. Okay. In today's Ghana, do you think connections matter more or qualifications matter more? Let me put it in this context. We have two individuals applying for same job. One has a master's degree, one has an undergraduate degree. They both have degrees, but you know that one supersedes the other. Do you think connections matter in that particular context?
Yes, in today's Ghana, I believe connection matters most. Many people will always put it in the ordinary balance that you need to know someone who is also ready to know you.
Yes.
Once you know someone and the person doesn't even know you, forget it. It will be very difficult for you to get employment. We have seen people walking around with masters, PhDs without a job. That is because sometimes some of them do not have connection. Some it just needs divine intervention for you to get a job. But I believe basically the way is connection.
Okay, so right now it's not to the audience. What Mr. Razak is saying is that it's not who you know. In today's Ghana, it's who knows you. Right. If I get what I say. It's
You know who is ready
to help you. Okay, so that's very fine. So moving on to my next question. Some people argue that our education system focuses more on the theoretical aspect than the practical aspect. Do you agree with that?
I basically agree with that without any reservations. When you look at our educational system, ranging from the basic schools, the senior high schools, the universities, the curriculum is just centered basically or merely on theory. We study the theoretical aspect of it alone without any practicals. That is why in during graduation days we are awarded with certificates, and some people are awarded valedictorians because they can think or remember things so easily, forgetting that we need people who can actually work with their hands, people who can come out to do practical work. In other countries, when you visit other countries, the practicals matters most. But in our country, we are geared more towards the theory alone. Basically, from rote memorization, those who can memorize the most are those they say they are intelligent. But somebody who can sit and crafts something, but the person cannot remember things in the classroom or to put on paper to score that A or B. They say the person doesn't know anything. So for me, I think our educational system should be more centered on practicals rather than the theoretical aspects that we have chosen.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Razak. And that's basically why this platform is here. What we are going to do is, whilst we are pointing out the challenges, we also look at feasible solutions. So, in that particular context, how do you think we can help develop the educational system of Ghana? Or what do you think we can do to curb that particular disease of it being purely theoretical and not practical?
I believe that the curriculum should be relooked at such that it will be more practically oriented as compared to theoretically oriented system we are currently
Okay,
experiencing.
okay.
When you go to some other countries like China, it is believed that we all believe that even sometimes some of the toy phones that we use is as a result of the practicals their students go through, perhaps senior high school students or even basic school students. But today, if you even come to in Ghana here, if you say a basic school student to mold a correct phone using clay self, it becomes very difficult. That is because they were started with that kind of theoretical uh, curriculum at the expense of the practicals aspect of it.
Okay, okay, okay. That's very powerful. But Mr. Razak, I want to ask you a question. How hard do you think that reform will be? Looking at Ghana currently, looking at our educational system, looking at our ministers, that particular reform, shifting from that theoretical, should I say, model of education to a more practical one. Do you think that reform will be very easy, to be very difficult for us to shift from that particular system?
Well, I believe it will be very easy if we make our minds to do so. Basically, it's just about policy. Our ministers, MPs, it's just when they wanted to change the curriculum to the current curriculum that the students are using,
Okay,
it took them in no time to do so.
okay.
What is preventing them from implementing the policy or bringing the policy of us uh, having a practically oriented curriculum? I believe that it is a mindset and the readiness to do it. So if we are ready to do it, it becomes so easy and simple to do.
Wow, 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 wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. So basically, we are punching holes in the system and we are also trying to find feasible solutions to address that. And you spoke about policy. I like the fact that you spoke about policy. And I think I can relate in a particular context. So I want to read a paper that was written by ResearchGate, and it's a study conducted on the 12th of October 2024. So it suggests that programs like sociology, history, and fine art have lower employment rates. Yet, we know that in this particular country, we have universities that still offer those courses. Your own suggestion, would you say those particular courses should be one, scrapped totally out of the system. Two, should they have a limited entry rate? Three, or should the government build industries to support those courses? And let me mention the courses to you again. We have courses like sociology, history, and fine arts. They have the let's say the lowest employment rates in this particular country. So what do you think about that? Should they limit it to a lower number of students? Or is the government responsible for building institutions to support those particular courses?
So my response goes in this way. I believe that these kind of courses should not be scrapped completely, but we should limit the intake. That is the first aspect of my response. We should limit the intake that universities would offer, the admissions that universities would offer to these people. It should be very minimal. And secondly, if we continuously produce students from those areas, um, no matter the rates in which we produce them, a time will come where the system will be choked in that area as well. So I believe that government should as well build areas, places for them, such that when they graduate, they will be able to find job in those areas. Gone were the days where when you study sociology, psychology, people see you as somebody who quotes Karl Marx theory, you quote uh, Max Weber and all kinds of philosophers and sociologists. But today, sociology alone, the job market would definitely be choked because it won't bring like the practical aspect that I'm talking about, because
Yeah.
these courses are mainly centered on the theoretical aspect of it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Mr. Razak, my next question. You know, and I know, we have colleagues, we have friends, we have mates, we have brothers out there. They offered a particular program, but going out there, looking at the job market, they keep switching from their field of expertise. Let me give you an example. Someone might offer planning, development planning, and at the end, you would see that after service, the person goes into banking. So my question to you is that a sign of the system failing us?
That is a sign that the system has already failed us. If the educational system was such that it is theoretical, studying planning or any related course, going out, you yourself will even realize that you can do something with your hands. That is a theoretical aspect of it. The practicals aspect of it. You can do something for yourself. But you study planning, then you go out, you find yourself in the banking sector. It means that the system has already failed us. There are no jobs for the youth, and anywhere you find yourself, then you fix in. It is believed that once you fix in, you can adjust and acclimatize yourself with the job market. However, that is not the person's area of expertise. Imagine sending somebody who has read planning to the classroom to teach. They are there. Not
That's the truth. That's the truth.
yes. So let's say the basic school,
Mhm.
they don't do planning.
Mhm.
What would the person teach?
That's true. That's true. And that's the kind of system we have here in Ghana today. So, Mr. Razak, recently on the 2nd of July 2025, an article written by Ghana Web, there was something I found there, and there was an article on the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra. He called the students to become job creators and not job seekers. But realistically, are students being equipped to do that with our current educational system and with the systems that have been built in place externally?
First and foremost, the question is, are our students being equipped with the skills to create jobs for themselves?
Yes.
So let me take it from this perspective. We have universities offer business, right?
That's true.
Business studies. You come to study business, then you study business in book throughout till you complete. everything in book. When you go out, you how to even set up an Indomie joint for yourself becomes very difficult. That is because you have studied business. Those are business examples of businesses. But you go out, you cannot even start a small business for yourself. How then do you create employment? By creating employment for yourself, or creating a business as an entrepreneur, then you also employ people. Here is the case: you have not, you yourself, you are not even equipped with the skills to create a business for yourself. How more do you employ someone? So I believe that the educational system should equip students with the skills, one, to create businesses as entrepreneurs, and two, to also, in that they would be able to employ themselves and employ the numerous others that would complete the various universities.
Wow, that's a lot to analyze, and I think the viewers out there, most of you can relate to what we are saying. I feel like you have graduates out there who are struggling with these same problems we are mentioning, we are pointing out, and it's up to we the youth to do what, to make that particular change. Those up there, they don't feel that, or should I say, they don't relate to what we are going through currently. So as we also grew, also progress, we have to make those changes in order for it not to affect future generations. So, Mr. Razak, we are moving on to our next segment, which brings us to family and society. And I think this plays a very big role when it comes to most students. So, my first question to you is, how much influence do you think society and families have on choices of students, especially the programs they choose when coming to the university?
A lot of influence. Most students in the universities are studying the courses they are currently studying merely because they want to fulfill their parents' um, dreams, and not they themselves. Let me take it this way.
Okay.
I recently encountered a young lady who says she wanted to study communication, but the dad wants her to study law, and the mom wants her to go to nursing. So it becomes very difficult for her. Now, if she decides to choose her own path, the parents would say, okay, since you have decided you would not obey me, then I wouldn't also pay the fees. Then, if she decides to choose the mother's side of it, nursing, then the dad will say, since you have decided to choose your mother's side, then my hands are off. Then the mom would also say that since you have decided to choose your dad's aspect of the advice, then my hands are off. If you are going to school, you go alone. So I believe that children should be advised. Advice advice comes as advice, but you don't impose the advice on the child to pick. Parents should advise and guide their children growing up. This is what I want to be. This is what you want to be. If you go into this area, these are some of the challenges you are going to face. Let the child choose for him or herself, but parents should not choose for their children. I can also relate several instances where we have university students going as far as being in level 300 and dropping merely because they didn't have passion to study those courses, but the courses were imposed on them. So they come in, they can't perform, and then they themselves would have to drop and then go back. Just last trimester, a parent followed up on the child's results, came to our faculty, came and checked, and the child has trailed a number of courses. The dad just felt like the child should go and pack his things and then they will go home. That is merely because the child didn't even have the ambition to study the program but was forced to come and study the program. So parents should have an influence in the courses their children study, but that should be adversarial. They should just advise them.
Wow, Mr. Razak, that's very powerful. That's very powerful. But I want to say something. On the other hand, you realize that parents also want what's best for their children. So where exactly do we draw the line between guidance and pressure? Where is that line drawn?
Okay, the line is drawn when children are given the opportunity to choose where their interest lies. Let's say your dad wants you to go and then study statistics,
Okay.
but your interest is not in statistics. You actually want to go and study economics. So, what your dad should merely do is that, well, once that is where your interest is, I will rally behind you and support you to study your economics. Um, so we have to just, our parents have to just not impose courses on us to study, but they should merely guide us and guide us. So if they advise that we should go and study this program, and then I decide to say that, oh, dad, mom, my ambition is to study this program, they should rally behind their walls and then push them to study the programs of their interests.
Okay, so to the parents listening out there, I think these are challenges your children face on daily basis. And I think you should also heed to them, just like our guest is saying, and also support whatever dream it is they want to pursue. So I think looking beyond family, it gets to a point whereby we as students, we should look inward. And that brings me to the point. We students, are we those to blame for our own, should I say, predicaments? Let me give you an example. A lot of students would admit, even till level 400, I have colleagues that are still in my class and they don't know exactly what the course is about. They usually sit down and they feel like, okay, it has gotten to the point whereby I should go to the university, or I'm at that stage whereby I should transition to the university. They don't do proper research on courses. Maybe an elder brother or an elder sister offered a course, maybe they saw it online, or maybe they assume that course is prestigious and that's why they go in and offer those courses. Are we students to blame for that?
I believe that prestige comes in when the course meets passion. Students themselves are partly to be blamed sometimes when it comes to their choice of programs. The choice of program at the university even comes in right from your JHS level. Assuming you want to be a medical doctor, then back at the junior high school level, you didn't know the course that you would go and study in order to become a medical doctor. Not every program you can study and come out to be a medical doctor. You have to study, perhaps, let's say, pure science. So, at the junior high school, before you even choose your courses or the senior, you choose the senior high school you want to be placed to, you have to know this school, these are the courses that they offer at this particular school. When you go to this school, these are the courses offered there. So, and this is where my interest lies. I want to be a medical doctor, so I would want to go and study science. For example, let's say Tamale Islamic Sciences, you want to go to study science there, you want to become a medical doctor. So by studying science, when you come out from the SHS, you are directly heading towards your direction. But how do students actually choose these paths? That is because today a lot of us, even from the junior high schools, students have phones. We shouldn't use the phones merely on TikTok, Facebook, or social media. We should use those phones to chatter our paths. We should search online to get to know, if I study this program, this is where I would end up being. If I study this program after my senior high school, I can go and study this program. Let me tell you that right from junior high school, I had already known the course I would study at the senior high school. So I made my choice of schools based on the program I want to study. So that is why I am currently in this path of studying law because I believe that I want to be a lawyer. So, and to be a lawyer, you need to study general arts. So, that is why I studied general arts at the senior high school. And merely because I had researched a lot about general arts, when you go to study general arts, this is what goes into it. This is what this and all that go into it. So most students today at the universities lacked direction from their basic school level.
That's very true.
It is not just now.
That's very true. I know there are people out there that this conversation has touched. I know that there are people out there that this conversation has inspired. And unfortunately, this brings us to the end of our program. Mr. Razak, before we close, I think you have people out there, you have loved ones, you have mentors, and I think it would be appropriate if you say a few words to them.
Right. Basically, I would start by thanking my family for the support. They have always been so supportive. To my elder brother, um, Mr. Chun Mohammed,
Okay.
he has sacrificed a lot for me to actually get here. And then to my mentor and a friend, Kofi Olama, I thank him a lot. Um, he has really shaped my path. He's a former senior high school teacher, and we have become best of friends. I would also use this opportunity to thank my big brother, Latif Lawrence Johowie Esquire.
Okay.
Wherever he is, um, I am thanking him for the support, the guidance, and the list
Goes on and
goes on and on.
And Mr. Razak, thank you for coming here. I think your advice, your inputs, and your submissions have been flawless. It has been impeccable. And I think our viewers out there, they've also been inspired by your words and by your journey as well. To the audience, he's a professional teacher. He's back to school studying law. It's never too late, despite your age or whatever it is you are in. So that brings us to the end of today's program. Thank you for watching. And as usual, like, comment, subscribe, and share. See you in the next episode.